Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another special guest edition of the Roaming Prepper. And today we have everyone's favorite wild man, Mad Shad. What's going on, brother? How you doing tonight? Oh, you're muted, amigo. Hold on.
My fault. I muted it. I'm sorry. How you doing, Pete? How you doing,
Good,
everybody?
brother. How you been?
Everybody in chat. How you doing? Good to see you.
Let's see who we have in here. We'll go say some quick hellos. And Rip Curl was in. I know Vision is date night tonight, so I may be in the bush. I hope date night is not in the bushes.
Watchmen, Holly, Loretta, True American Loretta.
Ooh, Ghost Lincoln. Who else we got in here?
Survival 76. Beef and chicken. I like him already. Watchmen.
Holly. Hello. Winning
Lisa.
Streak.
Hey.
Oops. Daryl Calhoun. Holly. Wow, we got a great. Hey, Ken B. Welcome.
Freedom Nugget.
Woo. We got. Hey, there's. Oops. Bam.
The dog.
What the fuck from Ohio? Bang. Welcome, Kentucky. Beef and chicken. You're right. I love that name. Hoorah. Another Marine in the audience.
Yo,
Hoorah.
Hoorah. Let's try
right.
gardening. All right.
Hey, Freedom Nugget. Welcome. All right. Well, we got a full house tonight. Brother, thanks as always. We had to delay this, folks, because as it is, I think All American Prepper had something come up. He may try to join us later, but I think we rescheduled this a few times just because we're all busy.
Right. Yeah.
But Shad, you want to, for those who don't know you want to jump out there and just kind of tell everyone what you do, what your channel's about, things you like to drink on a Friday night when you're hanging out with your buddies on.
Right on. Yeah. Greetings from the Airy Coast. This is Mad Shad. My channel is basically the rantings and ravings of a madman. I do Every Day Never Forget. Every Day Never Forget. I do that every day. I missed one day, and that wasn't my fault. Anyway, I do Lackluster Fridays for all you Lackluster Friday people out there. Thumbs down, fuck you. We also do Trial by Axe, Domer Methax. Trial by Axe. We also do Sunday Reflections, Creek Still Flows, all kinds of cool things. And I like to be creative and do like some spoken word storyline stuff. But basically, it's just the rantings and ravings of a madman. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. No, well, and you know what? It's basically from Friday through Sunday, just a lot of fun stuff that goes on.
Right.
And, yeah, today is actually we were talking about this. Like a bunch of us have been texting in the background, like different little groups, and this was kind of something. I think everyone was kind of a little bit worried about this. With everything was, Wolfman walks around the room. See, Loretta knows. Look at that. There's the axes.
There it is. Yes.
And Joe Morgan snuck in here somewhere. Hey, Joy. They're saying hi to Joe. I haven't seen Joe. He's hiding there somewhere. But anyway, what's up, Joe? I love the axe, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I love this. I built this, yeah.
You need to go to hatestick.com. Have you seen those?
No. I know. I put this together myself. This is my creation.
That is the Mad Shad special, not available for sale in most Targets.
No, I'd like to make these and sell these, but
I do believe there is a market for that kind of fun. But man, we were talking about things going on in the street, right? Because there's a lot of instability, right? People losing jobs, the drugs, the whole 9 yards. And I did a live stream trying to find one of the convoys to go and gather. And I wanted to see the border. I actually went to a few places. I was telling you before the show, there's a lot going on. Society is very not stable right now.
It's not what it is. You know what I mean? Because we still have to go to work.
Right. We have to go to work, but there's new problems that we have to contend with while we're all going about. And you and I, as fun guys as we are, we're not exactly cute. I mean, maybe to someone we are, but no one wants to pick a fight with one of us. They're not going to go and go, yeah, the guy with the axe, let's go piss him off, right? No.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, stature has a lot to do with it as well. If you're
Right.
a large male, you've already got that intimidation factor. It's built right in.
Right. You're the guy who's constantly scanning the room. You're the one who's like, he looks like he has a switchblade. Nobody wants that guy. That's not the fun guy to mug. They want the one that's easy. And it
Right.
kind of got into a conversation about crime. So I guess we can kick off with this one. What are you seeing? Because you're in Ohio, if I recall correctly. I'm down here
Cleveland.
in Texas, so we're both seeing a lot of problems. What are you seeing in your community with regards to crime and threats, and what's evolving? Like, is there something new this year? So I'll leave the mic to you for what.
Okay. So Cleveland, I mean, the Kia thing. They love to steal the Kia. It's easy to steal, and so on a weekend they'll go into the suburbs, group of people in a car, young kids, of course. And they'll find a Kia, or they'll find one in the city if there is any more, and they'll easily break into it, take it on a joyride, and then burn it under many bridges in Cleveland. That's a trend. Um, it's as far as like violence, there has been a lot of shooting, just popping off, just in the middle of the intersection, somebody gets assassinated, for whatever reason it is. For the most part, people just kind of write it off as like, oh, that's them guys, that are playing with the drugs and the guns, and that's what they're doing. But no, they have had some. Another trend is the intersection takeovers. They're doing a lot of that. Just all kinds of bikes and dirt bikes, four wheelers, and fast cars doing
Are
speed
they doing the
burnouts.
four-wheelers in the city limits itself?
Yeah. Oh, just right. Yeah. Yeah. Just four wheelers and dirt bikes, which have been illegal or banned, I guess, in the city. But when there's 100 of them, what are you going to do? And they want you to chase them. They want to get chased because that it's a thrill for them, thrill seekers. And yes, they'll have guns and they'll do little drive-bys and snatch and grabs. If they see somebody with a phone, see somebody with a purse or something like that. Carjackings, not so much, but you do hear about them. Interesting enough, a lot of bars have been breaking into, and they go for one machine, and I think it's the lottery machine. They'll go for
Really?
that. Yeah, they've been doing that. Bars have been having to update their physical security to meet this threat. Even if they catch this guy, they're only in for like 30 seconds, and they grab this machine and go. So that lets you know that the criminals are actually doing research, going, hey, that little machine right there, I can see through the window with all the neon lights. After they close, I'm just
I'm
going
going
to
to
bust
grab
this
that one.
door out, grab it, and run. Or they're going to grab the cash register or something like that. A lot of bars have been. Cleveland's always been known for its
Well,
spiciness.
Cleveland's always been a tough town. I mean, I grew up in
Yeah,
Queens, and New York is notorious for being, one of those places also.
yeah.
But are you seeing? I'm finding they're, back in I guess when we were younger, because we're kind of in the same age group, the mafia was like, oh, yeah, mafia is very organized. But then the street criminal were usually like random. They're getting really organized. Are you having the
Mhm.
catalytic converter thefts going on and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like that
yeah.
there?
You see those a lot. Yeah, that's everywhere. I mean, I got hit by that in South Carolina, but here I don't hear about it so much. But it has happened. Somebody with a creeper and a sawzall. That's all they need. They just go
Yeah.
right in. They drop off in they start at one end of your parking lot. They drop down on their creeper and slide all the way underneath all the cars, cutting off the catalytic converters, throwing them off back behind them, and somebody drives by and grabs them and picks him up, and they're gone.
Right.
So
No,
a lot of speed kind of, thefts and crime and burglary. Um, you're going to see that. You're going to see that, especially with the degradation of society, the massive amount of people that are coming into the city. They're going to figure out ways to take advantage, and they don't care about the laws. They do, because they don't want to get caught. So they're going to try to do a job. They're going to try, they all want to do the Italian job, the
right.
great heist and in and out. So they have hit some dealerships. That has happened. A lot of dealerships have been hit, and cars just went out the door. They're
Really?
out the window. A lot of drive-in. Oh yes,
So
here's
what did
one.
they break the big window and drive it
Yeah,
out?
they just drive right in, whatever car they stole off the night, off the street. Drive right in. They go right for the keys they know where the keys are. They've done the research. They've scoped the place out. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're highly organized. They come in, boom, they're done, and they're
Right.
out. Another one is they've been hitting gun shops. Doing drive-in gun shops. They'll ram a car into the gun shop, grab everything they can, and haul ass. That's been a trend here too, and that's not here in Cleveland, but all over, like outside of Cleveland, down south and around the west and east. So a lot of these brazen type of burglaries,
Right.
snatching grabs, I call them.
Yeah, they're and they get brazen. So we had a ranch subdivision out here. This Texas, right? So you got like acre to 5 acres. These are folks who run the rodeo. And thank you, Craig, by the way. Yeah, Craig. Yeah, I just angled it, but he is right. This mic is actually normally like upright, but then it kind of obscures me. But yeah, thank you, Craig. Yeah, we had this subdivision. It's an acreage, just like ranchettes, if you will, and they hit 20 cars in a week.
Wow.
And that's ballsy, because this is ranch country. I mean, they'll shoot you and make you disappear in the desert. I mean, nobody will find you then. And then they started hitting homes during the day. But what's interesting, they never hit a home that had a family in it. Like if there was a wife and kids, they would hit the neighbor's house, but not them. And they finally caught 2 of those guys, or 3 of them, which means they're eventually going to get the rest. Because somebody's going to give someone up. These guys were not pros, but they were organized, and they were just local idiots, but clearly not stupid, because they evaded the cops for 2 weeks. And it got to the point, a lot of the owners in that property, that area, were saying, I don't want to come out and have, commit violence, but I know for a fact they stole my neighbor's 3030 out of his pickup. So as far as
right.
I can assume, I mean, think about it, Shad. If you walked out and you knew for a fact somebody was hitting cars in your neighborhood, and a revolver or pistol was stolen, and someone's in your truck, you're probably going to think the same thing. Like, this guy probably has that gun. I don't know.
Right.
And it's going to change. So are you seeing more in your area? Are you seeing issues between the newly arrived immigrant gangs and the established gangs yet? We're seeing some
I mean,
out now
I
in
don't have
Houston,
my finger on the pulse of that. The
or in the
established
news or
gangs are
anything.
always going to be the authority.
Mhm.
But there's in the criminal world, there's always going to be room for someone, right?
Yeah,
You were just talking about, the heist where they were hitting cars, but not women and children, not people with families. See, that's kind of the thing is, if people know because they know who's doing this. The criminal world knows, okay, that was the Basura gang or something.
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
For
Basura
those of,
gang.
for
Yeah,
those of you who are Spanish impaired, that means the trash can gang, or the trash
that's
gang.
the trash can gang. Oh, that's the Rat King. They know who did it, and so if they
Right,
hit
right.
like a women and children, and somebody got hurt, then there is a bit of a morality issue there, because no women and children is the deal, right?
Right.
So no chomo, no women and children. Yeah, you want to hit like
Right.
single males and stuff like that. And plus, women and children are usually protected.
Right.
So
And that, I wonder, something changed because when there were families, right? The mafia families in New York and Cleveland
mhm,
and in
yep,
New Orleans, the Italian, the Irish, or even the 5 families in Mexico, or 6 families in Mexico, the cartels in Colombia, there were certain rules,
yep.
right? If unless the wife was involved, like she was the accountant or something, you never touched the family, you never touched the kid.
Mhm.
Some of the folks coming in here don't
No,
dare.
it's a different it's brutality because where they live, there's none of that.
It's acceptable.
There's not a large criminal element that's the authority. So they get to operate with impunity. They
Right.
can do all kinds of atrocities, things that will make a grown man cry. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how far you want to get into that, but
Right,
they'll
right.
they'll imprison and traffic your whole family,
Right. It's
torture.
much more horrendous.
Yeah.
It's not business anymore,
Uh,
as they
you
used to
know,
say.
yeah,
It's
kidnapping and ransoming is still a large business.
yeah,
And if it doesn't work out, they traffic you. If they ransom and they can't give you money, they'll either harvest you, right?
right.
Because there's that, or they'll
Yes.
just sell you,
And
to
that's
someone.
a whole nother topic, the harvesting. So we're both seeing evolutions. And it's funny because a lot of the immigrants I'm seeing in my part of West Texas are actually Cubans who are thrilled to be here. And they're excited and they're like, oh yeah, my wife is opening a bakery and my kids are playing this
Right.
lacrosse thing, which the
They're
kids
they're
have never
going
seen.
to church and
Right, they're members of church, and they, granted, some came legal, some didn't, and then they had to get their papers because they got caught, and they're like, "No, we're going to throw you out unless you get your papers." But they're happy to be here; they want to be here. And then there's some that are just awful. But everything's changing, man. It's. I mean, I don't know if you're seeing it too. There's the situation in the streets is evolving,
Mhm.
and it's kind of
Yes,
ugly when you think about it.
it is
So
ugly. Yeah.
I guess to the next question, let's see. So all of us have different environments, right? And I'll blow that up. I'll try to blow that up. Oh, I blew us up. Heck. Okay, sorry about that. Whoa, no. Um, how can people start to evaluate their personal safety and self-defense? Like, you and I were talking about habits we have. Like, I back in my vehicle everywhere. I'll drive a dark parking lot with my high beams on just to see who's in there before I park. And you said you do some things. How can people start understanding their day-to-day situation? So what's your thoughts on that, man?
So I like to plan my routes. If I'm going somewhere, say I'm going to Walmart. I know my routes. If it's if it's known to me, I mean, I know it very well. I know the choke points. I know the possible the countless avenues approaches. I know the somewhat threats and whatever, but I plan my route and I say, okay, if I can make it through this, and I break it up, I make it through this part, I have to watch out for these threats. There's a threat to the left, threat to the right, there's whatever, there's woods over there, there's gangs, or there's uh, ghetto over there, whatever. A cop shop over there is a donut shop, watch that one. uh but and I break it up. And once I get into, okay, now I'm at my location, at my destination, which is Walmart. Then I want to recon the area. I want to
Right.
just kind of drive around, but I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be noticed because they're watching you. That's the way I look at it, is somebody is watching me. Somebody is intently watching me and hiding while they're doing it. They're being covert about watching me, and they're waiting for me. So I'm trying to sneak up on the
Right.
guy that's watching me, or the group that's watching me, and they're hiding too. They're trying to conceal their location. So it's a cat and mouse game, right? Who can see who first? Now, if I do see them and I'm like, oh shit, they know I'm there. Do I just? I'm going to continue about my day, but I'm going to keep my awareness,
Right.
and pull you back into a parking spot. I like to pull into the parking spot so I can go out. So I pick a strategic area, you know. Do I want a lidded area? Is it at night? Do I want to be closer to the door? I'm
Right.
profiling. I'm looking at cars. I'm looking at people walking around. And I also I talked about this before. Back in my early '90s and stuff, we played games, and it really it really opened up
Right.
my awareness. It was the targeting game. Is while I'm looking at scanning an area, if you're scanning an area and pieing it off, how many people is in your area? In the car, in the windows, in the trash can, whatever. And you count them. You mark the destinations, and then you can start profiling those people and the
And
cars.
you could play these games with kids without
Oh
freaking your
yes,
kids out.
right.
Your nieces and nephews. I would do it with my kid, which ironically now I got like the dogs found this new squeaky toy. They're freaking out back there. Um, but I'd go into the stores and be like, okay, where are the emergency exits? Right. And the
Yeah.
kids look and go, there's one behind the Starbucks and there's one here and there's one there. Okay. If there's a fire, where do you go? And I just throw these random ass questions at the kids.
Hmm.
But it gets them thinking. And I don't think they're teaching the kids anymore. They
They're not.
actually
No,
believe in the
I don't think
delusion of a space, and that doesn't exist. You and I both know that. A real safe space, unless you're locked in your basement.
right.
Uh, but yeah, no, that's a good point. So what about the clothing they're wearing as far as their self-defense situation? Um, are there certain types of clothing that probably are not a bright idea? Or like, for instance, the jogging girl I'd mentioned a few videos ago, they had this headset on that I could hear from 3 feet away. She could hear nothing. I'm pretty sure a car could have hit her.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what other thoughts are you thinking about the way people attire themselves or what they shouldn't wear that may help them?
Shouldn't wear. Uh, if you're going to be walking and you're in a threat level, and you feel, and even if you're just lackadaisical and going about your day and don't really care, you're like, I don't care. I'm not gonna die today. Nobody's gonna rob me. Nobody's gonna sucker punch me. I'm just gonna wear some sweats and some flip flops and some Crocs, and yeah,
Yeah.
but you still, oh, I'm going to check my emails. I'm going to put in my earbuds and listen to the music as I, jog around, go to the store, go for a walk with my dog. Never mind that people are running all over the place. They're walking through the woods. They're riding their bikes. There's people crossing roads at certain times, and you're oblivious to them, because you're distracted. Um, Another technique that criminals like to use is to appear to be distracted or focused.
Yes.
The phone thing. They'll just do this. They'll be walking by on the phone and just looking at you. Oh, hey, how you doing? Boom. As soon as you pass by, bam, they hit you, and you just noticed that they were not a threat. They were on their phone. They were just.
That's what happened to my friend's wife. The guy
Or
I
hey,
told
how you
you.
doing? Hold on a second. I got to rob this guy. Bam.
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's what happened to my coworker's wife. The guy was playing on a phone. He looked like another hipster, and then
mhm,
turned around and clobbered her for no reason.
right. Or they'll
And
walk by on the phone as they're recording you. As
yeah.
they're boom boom, or
So
they're
have you
whatever.
seen this one in the streets? Because this happened to me a few times in Houston, where they're yelling to the side. Like if I'm walking toward you, I'm the bad guy. I'm yelling at somebody or some fictitious person. They're like, what? But I'm making a beeline at you, but I'm
Right.
not
That's
looking at you, right? And
right.
so they've done that to me, and I'm like, who the hell's he? So I instinctively look to my side to
Everyone.
make
Yeah.
sure. But then I look back real quick and I'm like, no, you're walking toward me and there's nobody freaking there. And now I
Right.
start reacting. But
Right.
I've seen that before in the street. Have you seen that trick as well?
Yeah. Yeah. That's forced. Look over here. You're always should be thinking about five. I go 5, 25, 50, 100. That's my awareness, right?
Yeah.
Whatever's closest to me is the biggest threat.
Yeah.
And so 5, I'm looking at the ground, making sure I'm not stepping on nails or traps or soda cans or poop.
Or poop. Jeez,
25, I'm
plenty of
looking out.
poop.
Or I can go 15. It depends on if you're in close proximity with people. I'm looking right at them. I mean, I'm plotting my course, and I'm gauging their
Right.
intent. As I shuffle through, and watching everyone at the same time, watching all their hands. Watch the hands, not
Yes.
the
Hands
eyes, not
too.
the chest. Yeah, watch the hands. The hands are going to go for. The hands are going to carry. The hands are going to have something in their hands. You
Right.
know, that's how it works. Once you get into that, now you know what the hands are doing. Now you can focus on other parts of the body because
Right. And I think that you bring up a good point because have you seen this? Because I've seen people do this. I'll go to a city like Austin, Houston, because I travel a boatload, if all of you couldn't figure out by now. And I'll go to a city and I'll see a guy, acting like a meth head. He's really, he's flapping around like the inflatable guy at the car dealerships, you know which one I'm talking about. And I'll make eye contact with him and he's sitting there flapping around and they'll look at me. And sometimes they'll yell something, whatever gibberish. And I'll look at them. I don't challenge them, but I let them know I see them and I've measured
Mhm.
them. But
Right.
then I'll see people do this. They'll walk by and they tighten up and they do this. And you could see them physically tense. And it's like, I'm just going to walk real fast and this scary man will go away. And I'm like, your whole body language just made you a target.
Mm.
Because I looked at him and he looked at me and then we moved on, but he knows I saw him.
Mm. Right.
And you're like, have you noticed that in the general public? Like
Of
people
course. Yeah. I mean, you meet people like
freeze
that all the
or
time.
they
Yeah,
get
they're
very,
scared to death. And
yeah,
see, men, we know, most men know that if you're in public, you have to conduct yourself in a manly fashion. Okay, you
right,
have to. There is a man code. There's always a threat of violence. You know,
right.
I mean,
But
there's
what
always
makes it
that
worse,
threat, and
right?
that's part of the man thing. Even if it's just verbal violence, right? It's fun, but you have to conduct yourself and you have to be your posture changes, you stand up straighter, your chest comes out, you suck in your gut a little bit, your air lats kind of inflate a little bit, and
Right,
you're making eye contact, your head is straight up in the air, you're not afraid. That's the
right,
thing. You don't want to be afraid, and you want to kind of be intimidating. That's why everybody's like, look at me, I'm so intimidating. But you don't have to do that all the time, I'm saying. But it's good to carry yourself, women as well,
yeah,
good to carry yourself with in a alert manner, and how can I say, determined manner, alert, determined, and not fearful, you know not being afraid, and not
right.
showing. Even if you are afraid, don't show it, because there are predators out there, and they will take advantage of your
Or at least
pitch-assness.
exhibit courage, where even if you feel fear and they detect you may be afraid, they can also detect, but you'll stand your ground, whether you're happy about it or not, because you're not an interesting target then. They don't want
Yeah,
the girl with like my daughter, the girl with the switchblade in her jeans pocket, and someone found that out the hard way. And she's a vet tech, so she knows where tendons are, right? So when that knife came out, the guy bailed. Um, right, and she's not a big girl, but that thing, he came up and I don't know what he said
right.
in
It's like,
the
oh no, what happened?
grocery
Oh
store
no, I'm cut.
parking lot, and she was like, "I don't. You need to step away." And he goes, "No, baby, click." And the guy went, "You don't have to be like that." And she's like, "Go." And he left. Magic.
Yeah,
He was all saying Spanish things, and then she said things in English, and a knife appeared, and then he spoke English too, which is funny
yeah.
because she speaks Spanish, but it's like,
And and doesn't matter in what language you speak. When I get a little forceful, and the knife hands come out, and I no, go away. And it's like, okay, yeah, they understand. People understand your intent. So
yes,
that's the other thing too, is how to glean intent in other people, and how to project intent
Yes.
into other people. And you can do this just by standing still. You just by walking, the way that you walk with confidence. Do you not cower in fear and turn away? Do you make eye contact? Do you not make eye contact? It doesn't really matter. I like to make eye contact. I do, like, briefly. Yep. Like,
Yeah.
I've
And
I've
there's
I've seen you. I've seen you as a piece of meat. Moving
yeah,
on.
I've recognized your presence. I
Right.
have
Right.
acknowledged you. I have measured you in my own way, and then we're moving on with
Right.
my day.
I've
But
seen
that,
you.
yeah,
Yeah. I've made eye contact. I've seen into your soul. I'm moving on. Wait, you want to be
speaking
more
about
than that?
knives,
You want to be more than that? Then it's like, oh,
yeah,
really? You
yeah.
know,
But then you've already established the essence, the environment of the exchange because they've seen you. They're looking for that person that's gonna bow up, or like you'll see you come out of a bar with a group and you'll see the ladies are walking and then somebody harasses one of them and they do this. And there's always that one girl who puffs up and the loudmouth walks away from that girl. He's like, nope, I don't want, because he's like, no, this one is going to claw me or pepper spray me. She's going to stick me with a knife, whatever.
by
It's
kicking
not
the
the girl they
nuts.
want. They go to the ones that, they physically defend
Right.
themselves.
Tyranny
Yeah,
requires compliance.
yes. Well, another thing I was thinking of just now, thinking of the people coming out of the bar, lace up shoes versus wearing like Crocs in public.
Yeah, that's a good point. You were talking about that with the clothes.
Yeah.
What is everybody wearing? So I was a CEO for a while in a private prison, and one of the things that was the indicator for something popping off was at the chow hall. Most of the time, the inmates walking around are in flip flops or slippers. They got their little jumper on. They're just going about their day. They're
Right.
nice and comfortable. But if you start seeing people with go fasters on, laced up tennis shoes, running shoes, you
Buttoned
know,
up shirt all the way to the top button.
right? Yeah, something, or somebody's like look like they've got books in their shirts, or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, the
that's good.
shoes were the indicator. That was like, something about to pop off.
Right.
Because you want good traction when you're running around, when you're jumping, when you're shuffling, when you're fighting, when you need good traction. So your boots, your shoes, that's an indicator as well. Most people in public, life wear shoes. Ladies, y'all wear some very what would you say? What would you call it? Don't make
Fashionable
sense kind of
shoes.
shoes. Yeah, don't make sense kind of shoes. They look like medieval torture devices.
Yeah.
uh,
Pure blood. Crocs are good for floaters for fishing.
What's up, pure blood? So, but I've also worked in a strip club, and some of those ladies, they will nail you to the floor with those high heels.
Right. But you also figure those girls understand their environment and they will improvise a weapon using the heels.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kick a hole right in you. You know.
Oh,
Um,
without a doubt. But somebody just had a really funny. I'll say. So Dana said, "I have a whistle in my keychain. It may not defend me, but cowards don't want to be seen. Being willing to make a commotion
true,
is important because
true.
I've witnessed it where someone will start harassing a group and somebody starts getting really loud about whatever
That is
this,
true. It could help you, but
but it can incite too. So you have to be ready to bail out, and then that goes to the lace up sneakers at the bar.
right.
Um,
So let me address the calling out part. Because I have done that. I've been in that situation where I was like, help, help, help me now, please, help me, please, please. Nobody came to my help. I still got an ass beat. I still got my ass beat. Um, and so, because everybody there in that area was in on it. Or they didn't want to help. They didn't want to be bothered. Or nowadays they pull out their cell phone, they start taking, video.
mhm.
So yes, go ahead and use your whistle keychain. It's not your main. It's one level.
It's a
It's it's
tool.
it's one level. It might work. You might have to escalate,
Mhm.
but don't make that your go-to. All this is because our society in the past, yeah, you had men, big strong men. Yeah, not even big strong men, just men. that would come to your aid and your rescue. Not so much anymore. Now everybody is kind of, I don't want to get involved. That's the Haitian chicken blood gang. I don't want to get involved with them. The same mentality with the other people.
Yeah.
And there's people in that you don't know. They're going to be standing around. They might be in on the take. They might be in on your demise. And the next thing you know, there's 3 or 4 of them grabbing you, taking you down the alleyway to do whatever they want to with you, or throwing in your car, or just right there. It's also a timing thing. They know they have a limited amount of time to do what they want to do to you. They're going to rob you, beat you down, whatever. That's a trend that I've seen, not here, but in other places, where eight or 9 kids would just jump on you and just beat you up, knock you down on the ground, kick you, and that's it. That's all they wanted to do. So yes, calling out, you're going to get some attention. But then what? But it also incites that, oh my God, I'm helpless. I'm in fear for my life, and that predator mindset that their confidence is going to raise, because you're like, oh my God, squealing like a pig, help me, and the predator can.
So you bring up a good point. It's kind of, you got to read the room, right? Or read the street. And if you realize you do something and it doesn't give you the reaction, you either got to run or change tactics quick. And I think that's where people struggle. Well, again, it goes to a lot of the kids I've seen get mugged in like New Orleans lately, or in Houston. They go out, the little hipsters in their bougie clothes, and some street kid just sidewinders one of these guys, and they don't know what to do, and all of them are like, oh my God, with their phones, like you say, they're videotaping. I'm like, you're not intervening. And when we were growing up, right, if you and we were in a group and someone came over and, grabbed you, well, all the guys at the table would be on their feet, right? It'd be like, okay, now it's on. And that day and age is gone, or in a lot of people.
Well, everybody's a lone wolf now.
Yeah.
And our society, and, if you think about the history of it, we built something very, very great here in America. We built a society where it was fairly nice, polite, safe. You could, people talk about it, and I remember this, where you could leave your car doors open and windows down with your keys and guns and everything in the car. Nobody would mess with it. You could go to sleep with your windows and doors open and be fine. Your kids would stay out and run the streets, and no problems. But not so much anymore. There might still be places like that here, but we built a safe, polite environment. Now that's changing, and it's the deliberate thing.
That's water a tiger, but now we're getting soft. They're taking the street for granted, that the security will be there, the safety will be there, and it won't be there.
Somebody's coming to save me.
Right. And you need to be the one that they're like, no, that guy's going to take a picture of my license and figure out where I live and beat me in my bathroom. That's the guy you want them to think you are, even if you're not.
So right. You wake them up and you wake them up for breakfast. Good morning. I found you.
Now I will beat you. And then I will drink your coffee. No. So question 3, what can folks do to train themselves? This could be a whole own video, training yourself, but
I really could.
What are your, like, if you had to give them a couple of pointers, like somebody came to you and said, Shad, man, I need to improve my security situation personally. I don't know where to start. Like, this is absolutely new. What would be the first few things you tell them?
Get strong. Work out, physically fit. Become physically fit. I know that's a struggle. And also abilities. So there's different ways of training, right? You can go to now I love it. I've been thinking about myself is getting back into MMA, go to a gym and
right.
But yes, do that. Get into the gym, get yourself strong. And this goes for men and women. Be able to run a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles without getting winded. Being able to pick up heavy.
Block.
Yeah, right. But I mean, you might have to keep running and you might have to carry a lot of stuff. So you want to get your right off the bat your physical fitness and your abilities. You know, that's an ability based training is where you'll see the better results as opposed to the aesthetic or strength training. Strength training will help you, but ability training, I use a lot of, you see my house. My apartment is a literally a medieval armory. These things will
Yeah.
make you strong. They will make you tough. Swinging this stuff around, doing the training with weapons, doing training with just your hands and boxing. Get in front of the mirror and shadow box. Practice your kicks and do some push-ups. Hit the ground. Transition from prone to standing to running to
Yeah.
prone to kneel to do all these things, burpees, work on your agility. These are things that anyone can do, even if you have mobility issues. Now
Yeah,
with
you have
mobility
injuries.
issues,
We all do, right? Right.
right, that's when you go, okay, I can't run, so I need to be able to have like a turbo button, or this is my last stand right here because I'm not a runner. I can't. I'm in a cane. Oh, you got a cane. You got a weapon. But what I'm saying,
Right.
if you have mobility issues and you can't get away, because that's the first thing to do is to run, to get out of the area, get out. You're in the kill zone, so get out. The best defense against someone with a knife is to run distance.
Yeah. Because
Uh,
knife bites are ugly. Like,
hmm?
in my old dojo, my sensei wanted to make a point. Like he said, you need to train to defend against a knife, but understand it's ugly. He was a cop. He was airborne, actually. He was 82nd out of Vietnam,
Right.
which was an experience as a teenager to meet that guy. He gave us, remember the training knife that if I cut you, it left you a little purple
Oh
mark on your
yeah,
body, and then you'd
yeah,
be
the
like,
magic
oh, I'm dead.
marker.
Right. It was like magic marker thing. And we got into a knife fight and we were covered in red
Right.
and purple. He said, see, technically, like Pete won, and you're dead because he cut your neck. But like, look at Pete. He'd be on the floor bleeding. Like,
So
you know what?
my question for you,
And he would say, the best bet, run away. Shoot him
right?
from a distance.
My question to you is, how many times did your teacher get hit?
Well, it's funny. What he would do is he'd have one of the students like, all right, come and attack me. And before the kid could pick up the knife or the fake knife, he'd kick him in the hips like like a Muay Thai kick. They drop. He'd run
Okay,
halfway across the dojo and stop and go,
there you go,
see,
there you go. Yeah, yeah, he wins, right?
ta-da, and we'd
Yeah.
all
So
laugh.
the
He
thing
was
about a
right.
knife is a knife in anyone's hands automatically makes them a
Danger.
death dealer kung fu master, and not
Yes,
even the kung fu masters can stop it. And it takes little or no training. If you
right,
can punch, if you can stab, if you can move your hand like this, you're brutal.
right.
You're gonna
And
hurt.
it was just funny the way he did it because it was such a low kick and it was so fast. Bam, and all it did was make the kid fall on his ass. He didn't hurt
Yeah,
him. He
there you go.
fell, boom, and
Or a
when he got
stunner.
up,
If you can just
right,
whack, a little back fist, little finger to the face, boom. If you've
yeah,
got quick hands and you've got that quick little shot, even if it doesn't incapacitate them, you've done enough damage you've distracted them enough for you to get away. Or to
and
pull. You
really,
know,
what do you need? What, 3 seconds, 4 seconds? If they fall to the ground or drop the knife, and you turn and bail, by the time they get their bearings and pick up their shit, you're already a block and a half away. That you've just
hopefully,
changed the whole
hopefully,
equation.
hopefully.
Or and even let's say I was with family and I couldn't run away, I can back up, take 4 steps back, and I'm bringing up a sidearm. And I've transitioned to a whole new weapon, but I've made that space. Because trying to draw with a guy that has a knife in my face, I'm gonna lose. I won't get the pistol out fast enough.
Right.
And you know this. I mean, you've trained in this stuff in
Yeah.
the Corps as well. I mean, well, of course, then you could club them with the barrel of a rifle. That works really well.
Yeah,
But
muzzle thump. I like a good muzzle thump to the
yeah.
head or the chest. But yeah,
Okay, side question. Basic M16, or did you have the M1A, the M14s?
I had the M16A2 with the 3-round burst.
Oh God, I have that thing. Did you have the stupid solid buttstock?
Yes. Yes.
Oh God, That was
Yes.
such a pain in the ass. Anyway, okay, sorry folks, that was a side comment there. But okay, so physical fitness, also training. What about classes? Like I've seen some of the ladies like in the gym here, they have what not Taibo not anymore. It's called like cardio kick or something. It's like a Taibo.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
But
You
that's
know, and
great. I mean,
anything that you can do, because anything that you can train in, and make sure you don't find a McDojo where, oh, if I can teach you to
dojo.
align your chakras and do a no touch knockout. I mean, so don't listen to those guys. I mean, if you need practical, literally practical stuff. I mean, think basic. Boxing, wrestling, MMA. You get your go to your jujitsu thing. That's good. That
Yeah.
gives you something to work with.
I
Even
actually think old school boxing is completely underappreciated, man.
street science, baby.
You catch
Mhm.
a guy with
Mhm.
a left hook and catch him right here in the on off button, and he's gonna pee his pants. Like he's gonna go down.
Right,
And
and they know this too.
yeah.
They know this too. I mean, they might not. You don't know you don't know the skill level or the fitness level of the person that's attacking you. And
Mhm.
so you already all right off the bat have to think, I'm at a disadvantage. I'm dealing with you can't, if you can, unless you can, on the fly assess who they are and go, oh, this jump, but you have to assume that they're a Muay Thai master and they're going to, keep you, or, put that elbow on you.
Yeah.
That's a interesting side note is in Russia, they love to do the good night.
Oh yeah.
That's their good night. They
Yeah,
just
the
walk up
elbow
to you.
strike. That
Hey, how
was
you doing? How you? Oh, boom. Good night. That's it.
yeah,
That's all it takes. For most people.
yeah.
Throw the hands up in the air.
Kempo and Muay Thai fighters love that because
Yep.
we usually tend to be. And did you ever notice the MMA fighters, right? A lot of people are like, oh, fight ground fighting, which is important, super important. But if you're fighting two guys or three guys, I don't want to be on the ground at all. I want to be on my
No.
feet as much as
So
possible. But you look at the
interesting.
MMA fighter,
Yeah.
they're fighting guys in the street. They fight very differently than the way they do in the
Right.
ring. You want to comment on that?
Right. Because you're focused on one person, and you're focusing on his abilities. It's a competition. So it's a you're being strategic in the way that you move, in the way you transition, the way that you strike, the way that you negate damage, right? Because that's part of
Right.
it too. I know I can eat that kick and
Right.
get a favorable advantage. In the street, that could be that could be a game changer.
Right.
That kick could come from anywhere. You could be focusing on one guy, and then boom, on the
Back can
side of
get a
your
hit
head,
all
you
the
get
time.
kicked, and you're done. You're lights out. You're laying on the street. And once again, Viking stuff. Glima's purpose. Glima is a Viking wrestling, and the goal is to get them on the ground. That's it.
Right.
Once you're on the ground, because in battle with a bunch of people around you, and you're people are trying to kill you, and you've got friends that are trying to kill other people. You're trying to help
Right.
people. Right.
It's a battlefield, right?
It's
The
a battle.
ancient war.
If
Yeah.
you fall to the ground, you're automatically dead, because somebody's going to stab you, somebody's going to kick you, somebody's going to make sure that you're dead because you fell. So there's always somebody waiting for you to hit the ground so they can just end it right there quickly. That's the
Right.
goal. So if you hit that ground, you've got a split second to live. Yeah, that's the mentality you got to have in your mind. So in the street, ground fighting, you're going to get your head kicked in
And
by
learning
everybody.
how to take a fall.
Right.
Right.
Learning how to fall.
Yeah, because you fall and hit your head and your spine, and you're like,
Right.
and you become the
And
roach on the
that's
ground.
the kung fu movies. You see the kung fu movies. Every time they fall like this, and they fall with it because they're teaching
They're
them how to
trained.
do a side fall. They're teaching them how to do a back fall, forward fall. Yeah, that's things that you learn in your ground fighting, how to fall. And it might not be graceful, but you're going to negate damage. You're going to chuck your chin. If you're going to fall backwards, you're going to roll your back a little bit. You're going to, it's totally, you're going to tuck your chin so you don't hurt your head doesn't hit the concrete, because that's what it is. I mean, what if somebody grabs you and just boom, throws you on the ground, body slams you? what do you do then? You better get up and either run or, protect yourself. You're not going to be, uh, you're not going to be able to mitigate damage on the ground with two or three people kicking the shit out of you. You just can't do it.
Yeah, no. And it's funny, I went to a range one day, and this was a few years ago, and I sat on the ground and I was trying to hit a target static, draw and fire while I was on my ass. Like literally I'd fallen down.
Mm.
And I had a guy, some old guy was like, "Why you doing that, son?" And I said, "Because you get knocked down, and if I can kick you enough to make distance, I'm gonna have to draw from the ground. That won't happen to me." And this guy could barely walk, like he's waddling to. I'm like, "Buddy, you would
Right.
be
Right.
the first guy to fall down if people were running around in the chaos." Train to fight on the ground with your tools. And that brings me actually to my next question. If you're not using a pistola, we all know that you love the ancient weaponry. So options for self-defense with or maybe without a firearm. Let's take the pistols out of the equation.
Right.
What would you be your go-to in the street, maybe in the house?
Knife. A knife. You can use a folder. Yeah, sure. People love folders. They're a good EDC. They're a good tool. You have to understand that there's a certain way that you can use it, and there's limitations to it. A good fixed blade, a shorter version. Obviously, I'm going to plug. I always carry one. My TDI Tactical. I can punch with this. Yeah,
Right.
if I can punch with this, I'm deadly. I can protect myself. I and
Mhm.
I can defend with this.
Right.
Whatever way. If I have a folder, I'm not going to want to stabby with it. I want to slice with it because I don't want that thing stabbing and enclosing on my fingers,
And then you're
right?
hurt.
Or I don't want to go with the ice pick with a folder because that's really going to close in your hands. There are really good ones you can buy that have a massive weight tolerance on them, but I've always found that a good fixed blade, and it doesn't have to be something this. I love the ergonomics of it.
Right.
It's right there. It's very intuitive with the shooter, the shooter hand. Same thing with a gun. Even if you have a gun that's run out of bullets, you can still poke with it, muzzle thump, and you can break bone with that. But a knife, I know that a lot of people like to be compliant, especially if you live in California, New York, or another one of these places. What else can you do? Well, there's a very ancient weapon which seems to be just about anywhere there is anyone, and that's a stick. And it
Oh,
doesn't have to
yeah.
be a. This right here is carried by everyone in other countries, and
Yeah.
your Kali and Crimson stuff. They have a stick. They can defend themselves. They can protect themselves. It's a good, and it doesn't have to be this long. It can also be you can have a cane. You can walk with a cane and be very, very effective with a cane. Basically, you have a sword that's made out of wood.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I mean, a shillelagh, basically.
Yes, that's the way the shillelagh came about. Is that the claymores, the weapon, the British banned weapons and weapons training, so everybody carried the shillelagh, which was
Well, you
even
look at the Okinawan weapons, the tunfa, the jo, the short staff, was
right.
because the Japanese banned the people of the other islands from making swords, so they went to improvised wooden weapons.
Well,
You
they
know,
always had that.
a closet dowel. Like you go to Lowe's and get a 3/4 inch dowel and sand it and just make yourself a walking stick and put a little symbolic rubber thing on the one end from
Right. I
HB.
mean,
So when you're walking
how
around, it's like
how
a walking stick. Holy
are
cow.
what is your what is your intent with that? I mean, how
Right.
far are you going? If you buy it and you have to train with it, you have to play with it. I call
Yes.
it play. I love to take my toys and go play, and that's I'm doing all kinds of crazy Jackie Chan stuff. I got in trouble here in the apartments. They're like, no, you can't do that. It's too what? I'm a martial artist. I need this. Whatever. Oh, you
Yeah, and you
can't get
can only
around.
train so much in an apartment. Like I
Yeah, yeah.
grew up in one, you got to get outside.
Yeah, yeah. So
My,
there's a lot of things. I mean, if you want to, if you're a puncher, get you some, some punching weapons.
yeah.
Some knuckles.
Are they legal there? Because we can keep them here.
Well, it doesn't have to be brass knuckles. It can be a C clamp that you took off,
Oh,
that
that's
you bought
great.
at Harbor Freight or
Hmm.
Tractor and Supply, or you have this massive big carabiner
A
that,
lock and a sock.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
That was a
rock
segue
in a
right there,
stock.
man.
I mean, that's very, a
The
rock on
world's
a
worst,
rope.
the world's worst nunchuck. There was no accuracy, but you broke glass. Everyone ran away, including the kid with the sock. They just they're like, oh, we broke
It's
something
coming out the
complicated.
side, yeah.
Yeah.
Slingshot.
Yeah, it was terrible. Paperweights. Yeah, that would
I
work.
mean, what about just a bunch of nuts and bolts, and you just grab it and throw it in their face?
Oh,
Sands, pepper spray. I mean, pepper, just
okay.
pepper. Ooh, man, just
Oh
throw
God.
pepper in somebody's face and see what happens, or throw it in your own face. Yeah,
Okay.
it's in your nose, your eyes, and it's
Oh, you put lemon juice or a little bit of ammonia in a water spray bottle? God, that'll change someone's channel. Like it would just they would just be unhappy for a day.
right.
The rest of the day
And
would suck.
in these non-lethal, less than lethal, you have to think about quick strike. You have to be able to just deploy it immediately.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, in India, Kalari Payat. That's Kalari Payat. It's a type of martial arts. They have a sword. It's the ribbon sword. It's basically a bunch of metal ribbon strips, and women carry it, and it has a handle on it, and it's like 6 feet long with like three strands of sharpened metal ribbon, and they
Oh my
wear it
God.
like a belt, and they just take it out and start whipping it around like a whip, and
It
they
would
can.
just shred the crap out of someone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just whipping them, and it can be at any length. You don't have to go. You can go big, right? But how practical is it for me to carry this knife, which is,
Right.
once again, get a history. This was a Viking sax, so it was a something short that they could use, but fairly, big. Do you want to be carrying around that thing? No. I mean, there's a lot of
It's not
situations where
practical.
you
Right.
don't. A lot of improvised weapons, magazine, and for instance, if I just take it like that, oh damn, that hurts. I can't,
Yeah.
now I've got me a
To
nasty little
the
lacerator.
glass bottles, like beer
Bam, glass
bottles of the
bottles,
Chica.
beer bottles, sticks, and rocks. I knew a kid that if you started anything with him, he had a pocket full of rocks. He would just start yeeting him at you, and if these things hit you in the head, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna knock you
So,
down. Yeah,
well, my daughter was, there were a few girls, they were used to motorcycle together. She used to have a little Harley, the ladies' Harley that
ball bearings. Yeah,
and there were guys were chasing one of the girls one day, and she took a handful of ball bearings and did one of
yeah,
those.
yeah.
And she said she turned the corner, turned around, the windshield was gone. It
Yep,
was just garbage. And they
ball
were just
bearings.
sitting there on this. The guy was just sitting there, like the whole thing shattered, and the
Yeah,
girls took off. But
yep,
yeah, handful of ball
yep,
bearings, you that would
yep. They just throw it behind their shoulder. Whoop, there you go.
yeah, throw it up in the air and have fun with that, guys. But by the way, don't do that for no reason, folks. That's not a nice thing to do. But
But that's the other thing is the mentality.
right, you have to be willing to do that kind of stuff.
You
So
you have
okay,
to be mean. You have to. Okay, go ahead.
there you go. You perfectly led us into the last topic. The mentality of criminals, drug dealers. What mindset should we have? Brother, you're like you got ESP tonight or something, man. Um, what is the mentality we should have? Talk about their mentality. Like, what would they be if they're
Okay.
coming to hurt us? What
Mhm.
are they thinking?
Well, they're thinking opportunists or opportunity. Yeah, that's the thing you have to distinguish. Are they being opportunistic, or have they been casing you out and studying you and
Mhm.
and building a plan against you? A strategy. You know, do they show up at your local coffee shop? You know, at the convenience store and watch you? Are they watching you go to the mailbox every Thursday, or you know, the things like that? Are if they're watching you, then they're going to hit you. They're building something. If they're going to be opportunist, they've already profiled you and seen some type of they're going to do their risk assessment. You know,
Right.
they're going to think, is this a viable target? Is this a payday? You know, or is this just a nonsense crime? I'm just gonna knock that guy out and you know, whatever. That's a thing too. You know, or is somebody going to act crazy around me? Are you going to run into a crazy? Are you going to run into a druggie that is just erratic and capable of anything? Don't know what he's going to do, he or she, right? I've seen
Right.
a lot of messed up girls that you know, some meth and you know, whatever, that wow, she just whooped five guys ass right there, you know.
Right.
So
And she technically should be unconscious from the injuries she got in the process.
right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's, you know, missing something, but she's still going. So, you know, that's the thing. These, you know, the drugs. We've got fentanyl. We've got pain inhibitors that you can still be conscious and get all messed up and still be a
Function.
threat. You
Yeah.
know, and not feel any pain, not have any compliance towards pain that you might, you know. So your mentality is you have to, I don't know, I mean, should we carry on? Never mind. Your
You
mentality is that,
to walk
you know,
away, I guess, would be a good way to put it.
you
We
you,
need to
you
be the one who lives to tell about what happened.
right. Yeah, don't put yourself in that situation. Be the one that's weary and confident, but confident. Right now, I'm not
Right.
doing this out of. I have to have an abundance of caution. You know,
Right.
I go back to Havamal. You know, before you enter a threshold, you have your hand on the sword and you look to the left and to the right and check the corners. They were pine corners in Viking days, but and
Yeah.
you let everybody know that you see them and I see you. You know, here I am. I'm welcome. You know, here I come. So having that mentality and also being able to be brutal, you know, and that's how do you get to that brutality level where it's just you know,
Right.
that's some people just don't have that. Some people have, a lot of people just have lived their lives without ever getting into a fight, even an argument. So I love hearing stories like that of people that just, no, I've never been in a fight. Oh, that's great. You
Well,
know,
and you know, to that point, if you know it's not in your heart, then you need to train yourself a different way.
yeah.
Where if you know, guys like you and I may say, okay, I will have this implement or that implement as options to defend mine and myself. But if
Mhm.
that's not in your nature, then you need to be more preventive
It,
on the preventive side.
you know, it's like I said, you have to have the intent. What is your intent? I would love for everyone to be free of limitation, free of suffering and limitation in their lives. You know, Amitabha, Mani Padme Hum, Namo Tofu, right? The whole Buddhist thing. But even the Shaolin,
Yeah.
you know, they had monks that would kill you if you fafo, if you
Yeah.
came over to their place, which is how they learned kung fu. Why they learned kung fu is because people kept showing up at their door,
And
breaking
attacking.
down their doors and taking their shit. They were like, we're tired of this. We got to get strong, physically fit, and
Yeah.
we got to be able to protect ourselves, and we've got to be able to kick ass. So, you know, like the movie Kick Ass, right? You have to be able to develop that. And if you don't have that, now it's fine. I love being peaceful. I do, and there's a lot of to it. But that's what happened to our peaceful society that we built, is we forgot brutality in the face of tyranny. We have to bring brutality to tyranny to be able to vanquish tyranny, and tyranny in all forms. I mean,
Right.
we're talking about something, you know, as crime and things of that nature. But to be able to flip that switch and be brutal, and they know it. They're like, oh crap. When that, I mean, I've seen girls that you've seen that switch hit, and they're whirlwind of hair and nails and
Yeah.
everything else, and you don't want to be a part of that. And you're like, nope.
No, and so you need to have, I mean, in a nutshell, folks need to build that mentality of I will protect the people I love.
And that's it.
I'm not
How
going to go
dare
and
you?
right.
How
I'm not
dare
going
you?
to go
When I look,
speak
yeah, the
ugliness.
mom, the mother that's being attacked. How dare you take me away from my children that depend on me and rely on me? How dare
Right.
you? How dare you keep me from the people that I love and that need me? That
Recently,
mentality right there takes
you
it.
just touched on something, man. Recently, and I can't remember if it was a YouTuber or on TV, somebody had said you need to have the mental philosophy that you are important and worth protecting because the people in your circle depend on you.
Yes, yes, that
I may
mentality.
be completely massacring the phrase that that person said, but that makes sense the way I said it.
Yeah,
Um,
I've
yeah,
I've had the opportunity in the to train old women with mobility issues, and once I yeah, they go through the motions. They're like, I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to be a part of this. I'll just take. Yeah. Well, how dare the attacker take you away from your cats?
yeah,
Oh, what about your grandchildren? Oh, you'll never see your grandchildren again, or they'll see you in the hospital, or they'll be at your funeral. I mean, that's it. That's
right.
all I had to do. That's all I had. The only seed I had to plant, and after that, I was afraid of her.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, like I said, I'm blessed. At least with my daughter, and like my daughter-in-law is a soldier. She's a military girl, so you
Right.
know she people should be afraid of her.
Right.
They wouldn't think, but yeah, and especially they don't go after someone they think. They see the woman walking with business attire, confident, not interesting. She's going to fight.
She's
They see
assertive.
they
She's
see the old
confident.
guys with gray beards, then they look at you and me and go, "Yeah, one of those guys has a blade or something." No, no, not interesting. They're looking for the one. I think somebody mentioned it in the chat. They're looking for the one that's going to be an easy victim, not the one where they may not. There it is. Psalm Courier. They want victims. They don't want the ones that are that are going to be. Oh yeah, that person. I may not survive dealing with that person. They want the easy mark most of the time. Again, the
Most of the time.
PCP, the bath salt people. That's a whole. That's good luck at that point. But
Maybe
my
they see you as a walking Twinkie and they want to take a bite. I mean,
yeah, Bard points out.
dealing with drugs, drug addicts and people on drugs and crazies, people that just are, in a rage and they don't care. That's when you really need to assess your, what's going on there, how you deal with that situation,
Right.
because now you've got a crazy rabid person on you, that's chewing on your neck, and you,
Yeah, and God, wasn't it a meth guy or was it bath salt? The guy in Florida that was trying to chew off another guy's face or bit his cheeks or
bath
something.
salt, yeah, bath salts, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, how do you stop that? That's a zombie. Like,
Right, or
it's
Flocka. I mean, that's another one. The Flocka,
yeah. Well, if you can outrun them for about a block, they'll have a seizure. They'll just. But if
well, they'll stop
you
and
gotta
bend
get
over, and get stuck.
yeah, coming at you on all four legs like that thing from that horror movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
insidious. Right.
that's the one. Or the
Yeah.
alien. Remember that part with the Space Marines aliens too? That they were crawling on their all fours, but they were on all the walls, and the Marines started shooting them
Right.
all
I
up.
mean,
I mean,
crazy.
but
I don't remember that saying. I don't know karate, but I know crazy.
yeah,
That's you see that a lot, especially in New York, and hey, what you thought? I'm crazy. I don't care. They start going off, and you're like, well, maybe he is.
Yeah, no,
So
true.
maybe crazy works. I remember growing up. I grew up a scared white boy in a black neighborhood, living in the hood, and I was known as a crazy white boy because I would crawl. I would climb you like a mountain and start chewing on your neck and start punching you. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, but it's like, oh my God, get this rabid dog off me. So I mean, that's how I learned how to fight as a little kid.
But
Uh,
they probably thought, I don't want to fight him. That's just a pain in the ass, and that worked in your favor too.
and then
Until
of
you got
course
bigger.
I had retaliation methods too. I
Yeah,
would hide in the woods and bing,
yeah,
hit
that's a
you.
good comment. They
Yeah.
they want the dude on his phone, hat down, long hair in his face, soft looking, bag full of goodies. Female, same thing, playing with her phone, not paying attention around her.
Yeah, yeah, distracted, not
Yeah,
not not taking stock of their surroundings. There's a thing that unseen kind of everybody kind of you'll notice that before it's a I forget what this is called criminology or whatever is that it happens. You see it in kids before they do something bad. They look at authority. They look at mom and dad, and then they go, "Oh, okay, mom and dad is focusing on making pancakes. I'm going to go ahead and get into the cookie jar real quick.
right.
I'm gonna hit my sister, and or whatever. I'm going to throw mashed potatoes with my spoon. They were watching mom and dad to make sure that they were looking away. They were distracted. They were focusing on something else. So if you have to work out there, I did pest control for years at night on the road. I
Oh,
had to, go in and out of my vehicle, in and out of restaurants. I had to always be aware of what I'm doing because, I bend over to pick up my can. Boom, there's somebody there. I didn't see him come up. Who are you? Where the hell did you come from? Right. So, having that situation awareness and, knowing where everybody's at, knowing where somebody could possibly be. So, behind a
right.
trash can, behind the corners, a dark spot near your car, whatever. Looking at those areas and making note that could hide somebody there. You know,
Yeah. Oh, Joe Biden. While I watch this, I have my Boys to Men CD on.
Boys to men, maybe.
So I guess at the end of the day, a lot of it's going to come down to your mentality at the end of it, because that's where it all starts. You have to. Am I right in saying you have to have the mindset? I'm going to be as fit as I can, even if I'm disabled. I got injuries and mobility. I'm going to train with what tools I can to reinforce myself so I'm not the victim of a crime. And not do dumb things like wear Rolex watches if you're going to shady
Right.
areas, stuff like that. Do you have any last parting words? We didn't have any questions. Oh, here we go. Will Mad Shad be teaching classes on this?
I just did.
There you go. There's your class. You win.
I just did. There's your class. Who is that? Sister
It's
Marie.
Sister Marie's kitchen.
Absolutely. I mean, and a lot of it is having these conversations, these what if conversations. Now there's practical application and you may or may not survive that practical application portion, but that means going out into the hood with your Rolex on.
Yeah, that's the level 3.
Right. But the other thing is not being in that situation,
What? This is like a pre-purge pep talk.
See, okay, right? I like that, Watchman.
Oh man.
Right. Don't even go out the house.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you think about it, with so many new people coming in the country, we don't know who's here. We saw the video in New York.
Hmm.
We're seeing it all over Texas. I'm sure you guys are.
Hmm.
Things are unstable on the streets
Yeah.
to a point, and a lot of it is mentality.
Right.
If you're driving and the parking lot looks shady and you decide, no, I'm going to go to another store, you just avoided the whole problem.
Right. If you don't have a support, if you're not going out like in a fire team strength, and everybody's working together,
Yeah.
If you're just lone wolfing it out there, which most people do, going to the store, doing their errands, and your spider senses are tingling, just don't go. Just, fight or flight.
Right.
That's the question you should be asking yourself. OODA loop. Remember the OODA loop. Observe, orientate, decide, action.
Right.
What I mean, these things. What do you want to do? How far do you want to take it? Do you want to risk it? And it's not being paranoid. Paranoia is just a higher state of awareness.
Right. Well, there's a difference between panic and reaction.
Hmm.
Because when
Yeah.
you panic, you could be fearful, but in one
Yeah.
case you freeze and
Oh
you don't
yes,
do
yeah,
anything
I've seen that
productive.
many times in gunshots in urban areas. Most people stand up and look around, but you won't see the other people because they've already ducked and took cover.
Right.
They've already hit the deck. They've been shot at before. They've hit the deck. They've taken cover and they're moving from out of the area. From cover to cover. So getting out of the area is absolutely paramount. Getting out of that situation, and however you can do that. But if you have to be brutal to do it, then so be it. That's the greatest thing about this country is we've been practicing this for almost 300 years. So this dangerous freedom. So and it's your mindset is everything, you
Yeah.
know.
And even if you just decide to be an utter shit to the other individual, you may be such a pain in the ass. They don't want to mess with you. They're like, yeah, that lady has 8 chihuahuas, and those things are going to yell and nip and screech and bark. And no, I don't want that person.
Yeah. Oh no, they got attack cats.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I've seen cats tear people up.
They tore me up. I know. They've been weaponized against me. I
Oh
know
man.
this.
You need to give them treats, man. You must befriend the kitties, but and then get them fixed so you don't have 500 because nobody needs that. Well, Shad, I didn't have any other than a lot of joking comments and convo. We didn't have any specific questions. So, folks, if you have a question, throw it in the comments, or else, Shad and I'll wrap this puppy up. And brother, thank you again for this conversation.
I hope it was helpful.
I do too. I hope we made people think a little bit about. Oh, well, God. Sister Marie's Kitchen, what kind of taco is your favorite? Can bean taco be a weapon? The can of beans, yes.
Absolutely. Yes, chemical warfare.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
throw
so
you
good.
some fermented peppers on there and some jalapenos, maybe a ghost pepper or two. Yeah, you've got a weapon there.
Oh man. All right. I don't think we have any other questions, brother. So yeah, if you have any parting words before we shut it down here.
On this is just stay safe. I'm a bit reckless. I'm a reckless person anyway. I don't care. I mean, but I I've gotten to that point where I can flip the switch. Don't flip the switch unless you really, really, really have to. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Be safe. Don't even go. Don't even go to the area if you feel like you're in that situation. You're about to be in that situation. Just don't even go. That's the best thing. Is get out of the area, or be brutal. Journey well. And
Right.
that means have brutality will travel. Have gun, have knife, have something. Um, yeah,
But you know what? True point. You survive 100% of the fights you can avoid.
that's right. That's right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with that one, Shad, hang out for just a second while we close up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. You guys have a safe weekend. Be careful out there. I mean, listen to what we were talking about. Don't be a victim. Look as uninteresting or unappealing as possible. And we'll get through the bad times and go enjoy the good times. If nothing else, we'll see each other at the big table in Valhalla, and there we'll drink beer and eat meat.
Go.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign out. Chad, I'll catch you in a few seconds. Guys, girls, y'all be safe. God bless, Godspeed, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, y'all.